So I literally need to start writing scripts for YouTube videos because I am someone who just doesn't. And then I wonder why I'm sitting in front of the camera for 30 minutes not knowing what to say. But this was a topic that was really interesting to me. It had popped up on my For You page, essentially.
Which one of you is out here telling these kids that anyone over 25 is just geriatric? Like anyone late 20s, deathbed status, life support. I pull up to my rec league basketball game the other day. I'm getting ready, and this kid walks up to me and goes, "Hey, Luke Kennard." Pause. Right then, I knew that conversation was not going in a good direction. Luke Kennard? Not even Austin Reeves, Caruso, whatever. "Hey, Luke Kennard, y'all got a game?" I was like, "Yeah, we got a game. I don't want to play anymore because you're bullying me, but yes, we have a game." He goes, "Bet. By the way, man, how old are you?" And I tell him the truth. I'm like, "I'm 27. You would have thought I told him some social security type age. 27? Damn, and you still playing? 27? Are you serious? Like, yes, bro, what do you expect? For me to pull up to the rec and be like,
"Oh, green bean, check ball, Aquarius."
Mentally, I was just on another planet for the entirety of the game. I took some baby aspirin for my heart, and I called a timeout specifically so I could set up my will, just in case I died during the game. And I dropped 27. One for each year, baby. And then I went back to my assisted living facility and called it a day. Taffy yoga pudding, baby.
Apparently, Gen Z is like aging really rapidly.
It is mainly because of the stress. Come here. We live in a time nowadays where millennials look way younger for their age, while Gen Z looks way older for their age. If you don't believe me, I'm Gen Z. Get closer. I am Gen Z and nobody ever believes me. When my mom and I walk out in public, people think that my mom is my younger sister. Right? When I tell people, "Oh, I'm going to go hang out with my family," they think I'm talking about my children. I don't have kids, right? I'm talking about my parents. I'm still the child. Does that make sense? I'll put it to you like this. Zendaya is older than me. Tom Holland is older than me. That's, you know what I'm saying right now? There was one time I wanted an autograph from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? I was standing for hours for this autograph, and when he walked up to me, I said, "Can you please sign this poster? It's for Jordan," right? He then took it and put, "Dear Jordan, your dad is a great guy. He stood out here for hours," and then gave it back to me. And before I can correct him, he looked at me and said, "Times were way more difficult back when we were kids, am I right?" And then he tapped my shoulder and left. Dwayne is 52. I am 26. What I'm saying is, so Gen Z definitely looks older. I'm not gonna lie to you.
The internet, a place where we can freely practice the art of expressing our First Amendment right to argue with insecure noobs on the internet. The latest trend being millennials, who are actually facing their midlife crisis and clearly don't want to parent their kids.
I'm calling out all the parents. If you're a parent and your child is in pre-K to elementary school to high school, I'm calling you out. The children today, I have never experienced, and I'm 22. Having to teach and work with you guys as children has been the most traumatic experience of my life. I teach 5-year-olds ballet. 5-year-old girls ballet. I have a class of 10 students. They don't respect any authority. You ask them, "Can you stand in your designated spot?" They're telling you no and shut up. They're throwing things at each other. They're throwing things at other people, other classmates. You say, "Can everybody sit in their spot?" I don't want to. I'm not doing that. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not my mom. You confront the parent. The parent tries to argue with you and fuss at you because you tried to reprimand and redirect their kid. I told a young little girl, "Please sit in your spot." You're not my mom. You don't tell me what to do. Okay. When her mom came to pick her up, I said, "Hey, your daughter's having a hard time following instructions, and 7 times today I've had to redirect her to just sit in her spot." Well, clearly she didn't want to sit, and mind you, this is a mom. Clearly she didn't want to fucking sit right there. So, I mean, if she's telling you she don't want to do something, why keep asking her to do it? You know she's not going to do it. What world do we live in? Like, what in you guys' brain as a parent says, my kid not following any directions is a great thing. It's not that serious, and y'all don't have a right to tell her what to do. It's sad. It's sad. It's really, really sad. And another thing that's heart-wrenching. It's horrifying. It is horrifying. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town and Ski Yee. Your daughters, your 5-year-old daughters are asking, can we hear Pound Town? I'm playing them Princess Tiana ballet music. And they are asking me, can we hear Pound? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I'm so scared for these little girls today because this is the most insane agenda push I have ever seen in my life. We do freeze dance. You guys' daughters are twerking at 5. 5. Where's the parenting? Where's the boundaries? Where's the help? Y'all are not helping your kids. You're hurting them. You guys are hurting them. I come every day dressed, ready to go, and I'm in school too. I'm in college. I mean, I put bows in my hair. I'm wearing leotards. I'm trying to get them interested in like proper things for their age, and you guys are exposing your kids to this raunchy secular music. Why is you guys' 5-year-old's daughters singing Pound Town? And it's just really, it's upsetting. And I feel so bad. And I've watched different techniques, soft skills, soft parenting, gentle parenting. I'm patient. I don't yell. I'll say, hey, let's regroup. If you guys need 5 minutes, let's do some breathing. Your kids are telling me to shut up. You guys' kids are saying, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that. You're not my mom. They're putting their hand, they're hitting each other and hitting other kids. You address the parent. The parents are telling you, you don't tell my daughter what to do. It's not that bad. Well, at least she was in the class. At least. It's all these excuses. Y'all come in and you're more worried about what's going on your Instagram and TikTok feed versus being a parent. Be a fucking parent. You guys are horrible fucking parents. Like, I'm sorry to say it, but this generation of some of the mom, not all, but majority that I've dealt with kids that are between the ages of 5 and 4 and 3, you guys don't parent your children at all. They have no basic comprehension skills. They can't sit still. No attention span. They're hitting people. They can't talk. They can't communicate. They don't even know how to say, like, I want to go to the bathroom. If you ask them a question, they're rude, nasty, horrible attitudes at 5. And they want to hear Pound Town. What are you guys doing with your kids? What are you guys literally doing with your kids? Because I have never in my life experienced something so horrible. I literally don't even want to teach ballet to you guys' kids anymore because they are so hard to work and deal with. And I literally see why the teachers are quitting and your kids are getting expelled and kicked out, because it's no way, it is literally no way that this is happening and you guys don't see any issue with it. I tell you, your kid hit someone and you're saying, well, what the fuck did the little bitch do to my daughter to make her want to hit? Nothing. Literally nothing. Your daughter just decides she wants to put her hands on people and you don't correct her. You're yelling at me, asking me, why does she feel like she wants to hit? What parenting is happening? You guys are worried about seafood boils and dates and fucking like partying and being a hot mom. You guys are shitty moms and it needs a change. Stop listening to Sexy Red around your children. Talk to your kid, interact with them, teach them, listen to them. Teach them to respect authority. Don't say you don't have to listen to anyone unless they're me. Your kids are so horrible and hard to deal with, and I'm blaming the parents because they have horrible guidance. And it needs to be a change. And I'm asking, can somebody's mom stitch me and say like what the holdup is? What is the issue? Why are you listening to raunchy music around your kids? Why is it that you have to deal with certain people and be rude about it? Why can nobody correct your kid or help them get on a better track? And why do you guys approve and applaud bad behavior? Why? Because I'm telling you, all the teachers that are good and have genuine interest in building your kid, I want to help them. I want to help these little girls realize that they are precious, that they have purpose, that they're beautiful, that they're smart and intelligent, and that they can be somebody. I don't want to see little 5-year-olds trying to twerk to Pound Town. And you guys think that it's cute. And I'm coming on here because it needs to be a change. So please tell me, as an educator, a teacher, and I'm just a ballet teacher. I'm not a regular trained institutional teacher. I'm teaching 5-year-olds ballet, and these are all the problems starting now, and it's no change happening. So what needs to be done and happen to fix this issue? Please, somebody tell me, somebody make it make sense, because I'm telling you, I'm this close to quitting and saying I'd never want to work with people's kids again, because this has been the most horrible experience. I've never dealt with an experience like this. Listening to raunchy music around your kids needs to stop. Applauding bad behavior needs to stop. Not giving your kid your attention but throwing an iPad at them or a tablet because you don't want to parent needs to stop. I'm coming on here and I'm begging you guys, I'm asking you to really please make a change. Make a change. Your kids' lives are depending on it for y'all to make a change. Please make a change.
I'm jacking millennials just don't want to grow up, because saying that Gen Z is aging like milk is crazy to me. Because what y'all really need to be worrying about is why y'all 3rd and 4th graders are reading at kindergarten level. Did you not just see they upped the retirement to 70? We're working 40 hours a week and it takes 80% of our paycheck to pay for rent. We're stressed. What are you talking about? I'm sorry, our rent don't cost a sack of potatoes no more. We actually have to put in work. And before y'all even come at me, this is somebody that have their own apartment and making almost 6 figures a year. And I'm still broke. Because if y'all was up making 6 figures a year, you guys would be living lavish right now. I should be able to afford a house. And I can't. And it's not about me, oh, maybe if you save your money and da-da-da. Oh, I save. And guess where that money goes? Back on a bill. I know people that have over 2-3 degrees and they still cannot afford New York City rent. So what are we talking about here? And for y'all talking about, oh, I'm 30, 35 and I look 19. You don't. You look 35. I can see it in your hands, babes. I can see it in your wrinkles, babes. I can see it in your neck. Babes, you're reaching. Them little compliments the waiters be giving you talking about, oh my God, you look like her sister. They're lying. Because we don't look alike, stink. And I'm not even trying to be disrespectful, but worry about your own generation, gang. Because y'all kids can't even sit at a dining room table without iPads. We had crayons and coloring books. 4 cheap colored crayons that broke the moment you touched the paper, and we were happy. Your kids can't even hold a conversation. Their intellect is at a 0. Me personally, like, instead of worrying about Gen Z, I'll be worrying about why my child can't read. The help that y'all was getting, they canceled it before we can even turn 18. 21 even. We don't get that. Everything is going up but our wages. And y'all want us to work till we're 70? Y'all dumb in here. And respectfully, no shade, but to throw the whole forest, y'all look y'all age. I don't know who needs to tell y'all that, because it's not going to be the Jamaicans down the block. Y'all look y'all age. You're welcome.
Are picking fights with Gen Z by telling us we are performing suboptimally in the only field that we seem to care about, which is how we look. The particular phrase being used to fuel this online debate is Gen Z is spoiling like milk. Now, if you are someone who's been taught critical thinking skills in any capacity or has acquired even a tiny bit of discernment, you would know that the internet consists of a plethora of insecure people, of all ages in fact, who use the internet to coddle their ego by making upward and downward comparisons. And according to these people who can't seem to touch grass, even on a sunny day, we are aging like milk. Now, I would assume that telling someone that they don't look good or insinuating that someone looks ugly, regardless of their age, probably not going to sit right with them, but to each their own. If you are someone who likes to view nuance within everything, you would give people the chance to articulate their thoughts before responding, or you would be willing to look at all sides of the internet. And I think I'm someone who likes to do that. I will consume all types of content, and you don't have to agree with me for me to think that you are worthy enough for me to listen to from front to back, even if you are an inflammatory mill podcast who is spouting bullshit, you know? Like, I do still like watching things from front to back, and I will give them the chance. In the past, I've literally found myself watching 2-hour-long podcasts of people I clearly do not agree with. But the thing is, I think watching those things will not only give you discernment, but you'll also notice things about people. You'll notice patterns, you'll notice where they might divulge from truth to cognitive dissonance. And I think it's actually really interesting to dissect things and look at it from all points of view. And obviously, I think I'm adding a little bit of satire. I might sound a little bit more blunt than I actually am, but I am willing to see it from all sides. I can see why people might be saying the things that they are, but at the end of the day, blanket statementing anything, like putting a blanket statement on anything, is just stupid. There's objective truths within subjectivity, and obviously subjectivity within objectivity as well. Habibti, like, that's literally why I'm here, to tell you why it's bullshit, and also why you are actually prematurely aging yourself by giving into even half the things that you see and hear online. I'm sorry, pretty girl era means not giving into rage bait. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just over it. I'm over it. Like, I'm so over consuming inflammatory things for entertainment. It's giving messy, it's giving, I like to feed off negativity and I like consuming it all the time, and then I wonder why I look and feel like shit, you know? Now, if you're someone who doesn't really understand generation debates and things like that, and you don't even know the classification of what a millennial or a Gen Z is, so a millennial is someone who was born anywhere from 1980 to 1995. So that means you are anywhere from the ages of 43 to 27 in 2024. And then someone who is Gen Z would be classified as someone who was born from 1996 all the way to 2010. So that means that the oldest of Gen Z would be 26 in 2024, and the youngest would be around 14. So a little bit about me. I am 21, so I was born in 2002, the end of 2002, almost 2003. So I am smack dab in the middle of Gen Z, and I've basically witnessed everything. In a sense. You know, you could kind of discredit me by saying like, oh, you were a sheltered homeschool kid, but that doesn't mean I didn't witness everything. Like, I was not a middle school Snapchatter or on Musical.ly, but I still notice people on it, and I still get enough references from Vine, and I also notice all the little kids who are wearing Sol de Janeiro, you know? I basically know most things because big brain. For me, I can have quite a nuanced perspective in the sense that I relate to people who are a little bit younger than me and how I relate to people who are a little bit older and how I just don't. And why I think this statement is just stupid.
Oh, Gen Z is aging like milk. All of Gen Z looks so fucking...
It's probably the vaping. That'd be my guess.
I could kind of break apart all aspects as to why people are saying Gen Z is aging like milk. First off, let's try to not immediately discredit points, right? And these are points I can make myself as well. I've noticed these aspects, one being capitalism, plastic surgery industry. Obviously, the internet plays into all of this stuff. Maximalism, we're subjected to inflation, we're subjected to capitalism that we can't keep up with, but also major life events that have happened within such a short amount of time, within like, what, 15, 20 years. I think compared to a lot of generations, we have faced like an immense amount of things that I don't think humans have evolved fast enough to deal with, let alone a generation thing. I think technology in a sense has developed faster than what our brains have been designed to deal with. People are not designed to deal with mass genocide on such a global level and knowing about every single thing that's happening. Because you can film everything nowadays and you see multiple countries going through so many hardships. Back when the internet didn't exist, when there weren't so many technological advances, the only drama you would know about is what happened in your own country, within your own state, within your own little community. So you are not knowing about every little thing that's happening all around the world. And in a lot of ways, it's such a huge blessing, but at the same time, there's psychological implications to this stuff. There's physiological implications to it. We're exposed to so many more toxins. We're exposed to stuff in our water. We're exposed to free radicals to the extent that wasn't there like up to like 40, 50 years ago. As far as there being new things coming up, in that way, I think part of it might even be that we are forced to grow up faster than necessarily healthy in some aspects. Like, I don't think humans are designed to be seeing people who are unalived in front of a camera. You are not meant to have so much information in your brain constantly. We are surrounded by so much hyperstimuli that obviously I think that is going to affect any normal person. It doesn't matter how old they are. I have ADHD, right? My brain is naturally structured that way. I am seeing that neurotypicals have started to acquire some of the same traits that I was born naturally with. So in a lot of ways, not only is society changing a little bit, but in a lot of ways also means that people are acquiring very negative traits that are associated with a lack of attention. I think another aspect that plays into the fact that Gen Z cares so much about how we look has to do with the aspect of fear and preying on the fact that that may be the only thing that we might feel stable in. Preying on the only thing that who don't have an established life or career or anything to lean back on. Of course, telling a bunch of lonely, sleep-deprived, vitamin D deficient kids who can barely afford their capitalistic lifestyle, let alone a degree to get a job that their parents were able to acquire through hard work, that appearance means something. Of course, they're gonna fall for tactics, and of course they're gonna fall for a headline saying that like, oh, this is bad, this is good, you know, you should actually be looking like this. I think a lot of people focus on it because they feel like it's the only thing they have stability in, or they feel like, oh, if I acquire this, then that means I have some sort of social currency because I don't have the money that I want, I don't have the education I want, I don't have anything to lean back on. And that's really sad because people start to view that as the only thing that's valuable, or that's their ticket out. If I'm beautiful, then maybe I'll have access to those things, or I don't have to work so hard only to not be guaranteed anything. Because nowadays, jobs don't have loyalty to you. It's not the same thing as like 20, 30 years ago of being able to stay at the same job and you will reap the benefits of doing so. Nowadays, depending on your situation, you are likely to make more money by leaving a job after 2 years and switching to another one than to stay at the same job. The reason why some people say that there's pockets of Gen Z that look older than they actually are because being subjected to hypersexualization. I think the modeling industry pays into this as well. When you're casting 14-year-olds on the runway, when you are in a way like adultifying children, of course people are gonna think that you expire after a certain age. I think also misogyny plays into this as well, but it's like normalizing the fact that people find children attractive and then feeling as if being 25 is old when it's like you're not. Like, what? It's so whack. So obviously you comparing yourself to a 14-year-old who went viral, who probably shouldn't even be having social media, who is going to make you feel like you're old. Any Gen Z who's like in their right mind would have the discernment to think that 14-year-olds getting lace frontals, lash extensions, and like their nails done, like, you know, getting all of this stuff done to look 10 years older. I don't think a lot of us condone that. I think anyone in their right mind would not condone a 14-year-old getting the 9 yards done. I think it has to do with access, right? When you are a kid and obviously you are subjected to such unrealistic beauty standards, it's not the same as magazines anymore. It's really not. No, I think a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, I'm insecure because I would compare myself to magazines. Nowadays, people are comparing themselves to AI. They're comparing themselves to things that are so unrealistic that it's like, it's not the same. It's not. And then you're asking why people are getting preventative Botox and like whack ass things that just shouldn't exist almost. Plastic surgery. I think I can insert this video.
Respectfully, you look like you're pushing 45. Stop getting filler or Botox, whatever you have. It looks so bad. 45? I get like, okay, maybe like late 20s, 30s. 22, yeah, shocker.
I think like getting a lot of stuff done out of like early 20s, basically 21, 22, is gonna make you age.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't start getting filler till I was 25.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I was already kind of old when I started getting filler. Like, it was to help.
I was humbled so quick tonight. I was on live with my boyfriend, and someone was like, how old's your girlfriend? And John jokingly responds, 47. And the girl comments, oh, I thought she was early 30s.
That is so crazy because I'm 22. And I ain't gonna lie, if somebody had a gun to my head and was like, how old is she? I probably would have been like 32. Because she don't look like she'd be a year older than me. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, I feel bad, but girl, you do look old. But I feel like it's because you have a mature look, not because you actually look old. Because 30's not old. It's just mature. Anyways, moving on from that. This is my personal opinion on why a lot of y'all start looking old real young. A lot of y'all are doing cosmetic procedures to yourselves that you don't need to be doing. Like, just being real with you, when you go get certain things done to your face, like you start getting rhinoplasties and then under eye filler and then cheek and blah, 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 Botox, all that shit, y'all be looking old. I don't know who made up the lie that shit makes you look younger, because it don't. It don't. Just being real with y'all look older. Like, it ages you. And I know somebody gonna be like, science says otherwise. I don't give a fuck what science say, because them pictures don't lie. If you look at an old picture of somebody before they started doing all that shit to their face, and then a newer picture of them, they looked younger then. And granted, they probably were younger, but there's no reason why your face changed from freshly 2021 to looking like you pushing 30. You know what I mean? Over 2 years. Like, that's not really normal. And as much as people will be like, oh, they work, you know, because this, that, third, I don't want smile lines, I don't want that. That's fine and all. But you're really taking the youth from your face. That's what makes your face look youthful. Like, I don't know.
I'm ancient. Number 2, they have been living through an era where social has been pushing self-care and skincare for a few years now. And given that they've had zero social interactions at the prime of their youth, they were slapping on skincare, inflaming their skin in the process. And the worst thing you could do for your skin in the long run is chronic inflammation. Because guess what? They were too young to ever need all that skincare. Number 2, they never fully experienced an ugly duckling phase. And guess what? If you peak too early, there's only one way to go. We don't need to state it because it's pretty obvious. And last, they carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. Happy people age slower. Oh, sorry, this is last. And they started cosmetic injectables way too young. And they didn't need to be getting 4 syringes of fillers in their face when there were still fetuses inside the eggshell that hasn't even popped to develop into a little chickadee. So there you have it.
I don't believe in telling people how bad they look because of choices they made, or even if it is the reality. I would rather you say that from your own mouth than for some little kid on the internet or even adult to tell you that you look bad because of a choice you made. How I feel about plastic surgery, about other people doing plastic surgery, is this the same way as I see 10-year-olds walking into Sephora and grabbing Drunk Elephant and 50 different actives and using them all at the same time and then ruining their skin. You know, I'm not gonna go up to them and be like, oh yeah, you look horrible because you burnt your skin with glycolic acid. I don't think it's nice. I think the thing with plastic surgery is that it's such a deep-rooted issue that doesn't have to do with the plastic surgery itself. This is like psychological. It's not like someone's gonna get filler and then they're gonna get it once. The problem is like the younger and younger you give people access to things, of course negligence is going to happen. It's the same thing with skincare. Most people are so uneducated about the things that they're using, and then they wonder why they're getting the opposite effect of what they wanted. I'm thinking about it, right? Who are these plastic surgeons that are administering fillers and Botox and unnecessary surgery to people who clearly don't need it? What generation are they from? What is their ideology? And why would they even think that that's okay just because someone's over the age of 18? You know, your frontal lobes don't even fully form at that age. So of course they're not gonna have the same amount of discernment as someone who's 30 years old and wants to get a procedure done.
Oh, Doc, it's horrible. It's sagging. Look at it. I think I need a whole face transplant. It's horrible. I hate it. Sagging skin, loss of fat and bone structure. I look old. I hate it. All right, what you want to change? Doc, I know you're the guy. I've seen your TikTok. Make me look hot. I'm talking A-lister. 1 out of 10, give me 1,000.
You need to ask yourself a couple of questions, especially regarding things that have to do with how you look and how you should be living your life. Number one being like, who's feeding you this information? Millennials might be feeding you this information. Who's coming up with these TikToks? Like, who's posting this? Like, of course, if like Ben Shapiro and like male podcasts and women who are insecure about aging are posting stuff like this, of course, it's clearly at that point it is projection and it's manipulation. They are doing it because of their own insecurities. Ask yourself, who's actually going through a midlife crisis? Who would be getting an ego boost by telling you that you look bad for your age? Who's actually the age in which things happen, whether it's like cheating or they actually are scared of aging, they're reaching a different milestone in their life? That's actually not applying to us right now if you really think about it. And I think it's easy to find yourself in this very subconscious position where you are envious of someone else's youth, or you're envious of their optimism or things like that, because they know that's what you're insecure about, right? With each generation there's some underlying insecurity. And I think even from a capitalistic point of view, who's more likely to be established enough to be opening brands right now? Millennials. So if they tell you that you look ugly, then they can sell you something. They can manipulate you into buying their product. They can manipulate you in a lot of ways. And also it's an ego boost to put somebody down, to put somebody in their place, you know? I think that also plays into it.
Millennials look younger than who?
You.
Have you guys seen how millennials have been clapping back at Gen Z lately? Because, bitch, we all know that for months and months and years, Gen Z has been making fun of millennials for their skinny jeans and their side parts and their fucking rosé all day, like, stupid little quotes, right? These last, like, 2 weeks, there's been an uptick in creators making videos impersonating millennials, like Gen Z creators impersonating millennials. And instead of doing their usual commenting like, boo-hoo, like, you guys are so mean, what did we do wrong? They're starting to comment and they're saying, you're not a millennial? You're a Gen Z? Are you sure? Because you look old as fuck. Have you been getting your baby Botox? Because you need, like, I'm not making a video making fun of them because they're going to make me start crying. They're saying, are you sure you're not 35? You weren't born in 1992? Because you look old.
Is Gen Z aging like milk? The short answer is yes. Child, listen, they look older than me.
Notice how millennials don't seem to be aging quite like the generations before.
Millennials look fantastic for our age, and you cannot tell us otherwise. And the reason why you think we don't look great for our age is because we have set the new standard of what it looks like to age. And let me give you some examples. I'm 30... I got cat hair all over me. Shit. I'm 37 years old and I'm about to be 38 this year. I'm about to give you some examples of what it looked like to be my age back when I was young. Al Bundy is 39 years old. George Costanza, 31 years old. Look at this entire cast of Cheers right now. Look at them. Literally, I'm older than every single one of these people in this photo. I'm a full decade older than Kelsey Grammer. If I rolled up to your house and I was like, oh, I brought my grandpa, He's 35. I'm 37. I'm literally older than him. These two are both supposed to be 45 in Father of the Bride. Like, there is a world in which all of us, all three of us, went to the same elementary school. And of course, Homer Simpson is exactly the same age as me. So if you see a millennial out here being like, oh my gosh, we look so young for our age, it's because the difference between us and you is so much closer than the difference between us and them. And like, we've set like a new standard of aging. So, of course, fine, we'll admit, Jane, say you obviously look younger. You are younger.
The people that I see making these comments, like, okay, what I found so interesting was looking at the millennials who were like proposing this prompt and, you know, really being gun-ho about like, oh yeah, Gen Z is aging really fast and da-da-da-da. What I was like noticing in the comments was people making like a bunch of downward comparisons, being like, oh my god, like, you know, I look so good for my age because, you know, I wasn't using the internet, or like using it as an excuse to feel good about themselves, and they don't realize that they're doing it. It's like so subconscious, and people act like it's just a Gen Z thing, and it's not. People have an ego problem. It doesn't matter how old you are. Like, I think regardless, people have an ego problem, and just because you don't show it in the way that this generation does not mean that your ego is like all the way up here, bro. Another thing, I feel like the second you start thinking about anti-aging, you're already aging. Like, that's aging you. But even think about that, being scared of that. You literally start aging since the second you were born. If most of your thoughts are things about how you look and things about how other people perceive you, how you're gonna be perceived in this world, like all these different things, and you have such an externalized view of the world, and you're constantly trying to keep up with everything. You're trying to like be the best, and you're driven by your ego instead of what will really bring you fulfillment in this life. Of course, you're going to be caught up in things like anti-aging and being scared of aging. And aging is a privilege. I think ever since when you lose a loved one, when you lose someone who's the same age as you, like, death does not discriminate. It does not discriminate. It can happen at any age. That's when you realize aging is literally a privilege. I just think like it was such a wake-up call. It's such a wake-up call when you lose someone who's younger than you. When you lose someone, like, I am older than my childhood best friend now. Dealing with that has really like brought me down to earth in the sense that like, you do not know how much time you have. You're not guaranteed a single second, let alone all these things that you're scared of. Like, you're not guaranteed another breath of air. You could be the healthiest person ever and then suddenly something happens. So I think it's like a lot of us really need to develop a sense of stable security within ourselves, regardless of how old you are. If you lack that, I think that's how you end up picking fights with people online and coming up with stupid statements like this, when it in fact is such a beautiful privilege. You know, people of all ages, and I see there's so much beauty within each stage of life. If you're scared of aging, you need to understand it's like you are the youngest that you'll ever be. When you waste your life, when you waste your thoughts, when you waste every single thing that you've been blessed with to focus on something that's so arbitrary, like, oh my god, I can't even, like, man, we're sitting up here in our homes, drowning in things that we don't need, and then we're wondering why we are upset. We don't like ourselves. We don't like anybody around us. We're assholes on the road, let alone the internet. So it's like, I'm not even surprised at this point why it's such a regular occurrence to promote inflammatory things, to promote being an asshole, essentially. I think this is a pretty important point as far as responsibility that needs to be taken on the side of Gen Z. As a generation, not only do we lack discernment, but we also lack impulse control. So when you are insecure paired with the fact that you lack discernment and impulse control, you breed a culture of just so much inflammation, so much reaction. They're just always reacting to things. Oftentimes, always reacting based on your emotions, and also having that baseline level of like alexithymia, which is like not even being able to tell how you're feeling. So if you're not able to tell that you're feeling angry about other things in your life, you are gonna tell somebody, you're gonna go up to someone rudest way possible, and whether you're online or in person. And it's so easy to look at other people and think like, oh my god, look at what they're doing wrong. Like, I'm gonna point at you and be like, this is the generation of cancel culture and putting people in their place and spilling the tea and da-da-da-da, like all of this stuff. And then we're wondering why people are doing it to us, and then we get offended. We get offended when somebody points out something that could be potentially true. It could be something we are literally doing to ourselves. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy to turn into the things that you judge in a lot of ways. The thing is also about the internet is that people only point out something that suits their point, right? So it's like if I were to make a blanket statement, I can just bring out a red herring or all these other logical fallacies. Even if it doesn't even match the numbers, it's not even like according to statistics, it's just like, anecdotal evidence, so therefore it's true. It's not. Correlation is not causation. So I think I also see that problem a lot. This even happens within the scientific community. You'll see that if you're interested in skincare content or you're interested in like even watching dermatologists online or people like that, I see even dermatologists spreading misinformation, especially if you looked at the benzoyl peroxide. Critical warning, breaking news, benzoyl peroxide is evil. The company that came out with that study was like doing ridiculous things to the benzoyl peroxide to induce the emission of benzene. And you know, you see benzene everywhere. You ingest benzene on a daily by going to the gas station and just living. So I think that's another aspect. Gen Z is gullible in that way when we fall for things that are like, if someone says anything with enough authority, then we just believe, and it's just like, whoa, like, can you not take everything at face value? Discernment, bro. Like, grow your brains a little bit. Sometimes we believe things without, and we regurgitate the same thoughts over and over again. And it's like, it helps to have original opinions, I think. It helps to actually sit back and be like, hey, like, I watched this video, but what do I actually think? What do I agree with? What do I disagree with? You know, even within someone's mannerisms or, you know, how someone says something. Like, you don't have to agree. But the problem is that people just, they lack impulse control in the sense that they don't realize they're talking to a human. That people will dehumanize someone in the name of thinking that their opinion is right. And you don't have to do that. There's so many ways around that. Like, millennials and Gen X need to ask themselves, how did they play a role in this, and how they might have led their kids to things that do look like they're prematurely aging. Because like, I think most of us aren't doing the things that you think we are. Because think about it, Gen Z is actually putting on sunscreen. We're not having kids at such a young age. We are realizing focusing on a career is a good idea and focusing on education, things like that. We also see more potential in things that other people. We're also creating jobs for ourselves by doing odd things and giving our hobbies a chance. I think there's something youthful about trusting yourself and trusting what you can offer to the world, even if it's atypical, even if it's not something that where the majority thinks is cool until it does actually do well. There's a lot of innovation within this generation that I do admire as well. And I think the other generations have something that all of us can learn from as well. I think the problem that comes from these debates online is that there's just so much like us versus them mentality, and almost like this bipolarity of opinion that is so normalized. Extremism is normalized when it's like, yo, like, whoa, chill out. Why y'all so angry? Like, why all of y'all woke up on the wrong side of the bed? Like, ain't nobody thinking that hard, dog. In a very broad spectrum sense, I think all of us need to take accountability for our part in things, and then not being so quick to jump to conclusions, jump to judging people's character, and always pointing the finger. Like, bro, like, look at how you're contributing to this, you know? Look at how you can change this. Look at how you can problem solve instead of having such a fixed mindset. And I know it's so easy to acquire that nowadays. It's so easy to just like be in such a autopilot mode of navigating your world, but I think it's like a lot of us just need to be more conscious of our thoughts, our actions, and our feelings, literally, because I think that's ultimately what's prematurely aging people. I don't think it's the stuff you actually think it is. I think it's your thoughts that are leading you to self-destructive behavior. It's not skincare products. It's not plastic surgery itself. It's none of those things you think it is. It's not the internet. It's just a tool. It's how you're internalizing things and how you're existing in the world, essentially. Those are my 2 cents. Yeah. I mean, like, everything that makes you as a person is in a culmination of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. I feel like I can have empathy for all these people who end up in these situations because I can see why they end up there. And I can see why they might say the things that they do, or they might get into the arguments that they get into, but at the end of the day, like, it's not real. It's like something you've made up in your head. You give into things like this. You give into stupid arguments. You give into things that ultimately are aging all of us, because you're not supposed to be so negative all the time. You know, like, you are what you think you are. You are what you identify as. You are how you treat other people. I think I was really shocked by this, you know, right? Like when you're on YouTube, lately I've kind of been like really cutting down the amount of time I spend on short form content, like 15-second, 60-second content, because I think it impairs my attention span even more when I'm like constantly on TikTok, if I'm constantly scrolling on Instagram. I do watch a lot of commentary channels, 2-hour-long videos, 1-hour-long videos. I also find it really interesting that commentary channels nowadays will all make the same content all at the same time within the same week. That's another topic that I don't know how I feel about, bro. Like, where is originality nowadays? Jumping on the bandwagon. I think that's another thing that so plays into all these things. We always are jumping on the bandwagon. Most of us still look like 13. I think it depends on what pocket of the internet you grew up on or what your interests are. Me and my friends, bro, like me, even my sister. I also think it's like maybe what played into is being homeschooled. The types of friends even that I make have a little bit of childlike wonder. Like a lot of my friends are neurodivergent. But either they're on the spectrum or they have ADHD or there's just something different about them. I think a lot of us get mistaken 14, 15, 16 and we'll be like 21, 22. I think that's also interesting because it just depends on what area of the internet you're on or how you express yourself, what your style is. Because listen, like I really love childlike things, and not caring keeps you young, you know, listening to your gut. And I was at the nail salon the other day, or I was like apprenticing someone, right? But one of her clients came in, and you know, when she told me her age, I was really, really shocked. Whoa, like you're what? You're 50? She had like those lash extensions with the, you know, the outer corner that's like colored, different colors. So she was wearing that, and she was like, oh, how old do you think I am? Like, I think at some point. And she was like, hey baby, you know what keeps you young? And she was like, not giving a fuck. And I was like, that is solid advice. It is really solid advice. So yeah, that's the video.